Welcome to the Sanity Project podcast, the place for internet technology professionals whose work-life balance plan has imploded. We are here to provide solutions that will help the IT pro live a sane, healthy, and prosperous life. Here's your host, Joanne Victoria.
Hi, this is Joanne Victoria with another amazing episode of the Sanity Project podcast. I am the host, and I'm also known as the I Know What Works coach. Our guest today is Beaulieu, and Anne is an emotional intelligence coach, speaker, and author who grasps the challenges today's women face in a society where women are expected to be cold in business while being warm and nurturing in the home. Multilingual in French, English, and Chinese Mandarin, Anne works with international women in business and corporate sales teams, assisting them in integrating all of who they are through emotional intelligence. Anne's latest book, The Golden Frame, was just released on Amazon today. And those of you who are listening to this, it's not today, it's tomorrow or a month from now. And today, Anne will be assisting women in letting go of false beliefs primarily attached to money and how to put her needs first and feeling deserving of great flow and abundance into her life. Welcome to the show, Anne Beaulieu. I did it. I made a mistake. Anne Beaulieu. Anne Beaulieu, which means beautiful.
Thank you so much, Joanne, for this amazing introduction. It's a pleasure to be on your show.
I appreciate you being here, and I'm glad that I noticed you and your topic because I think this is really vital to women.
It is vital. False beliefs, or what we call limiting beliefs, they run the show. It's like imagine having a computer in front of you. You want the computer to do certain things, but the computer will do according to its programming. And it doesn't matter who sits in front of it, it will do exactly what it's meant to do. And the same is with us. We have limiting beliefs. We have programming in our head that came from when we were very, very, very young. And most of us think, oh, well, I'm grown up. I adulted. I'm good. I don't have to look at that stuff. But the stuff we don't look at, it rules our life. And if it's okay with you, I would like to start by explaining to the audience what a limiting belief is. A limiting belief is a blanket statement. It fits all sizes. It fits everything. So it's a blanket statement about something that we deem as true, but that we can easily poke holes in it. For example, let's take money, because money, that's what I coach on. There's a lot of people with a massive amount of limiting beliefs around money. Tell me, Joanne, like in your line of work, because I'm sure you've seen plenty of it.
Oh, yeah.
How many, I'm sure you have. What have you heard people say about money?
Well, a lot of things. In one area, when I deal with certain employees or executives about their salary and how they can get a higher salary, they always say, they have a number of quotes that come up. Oh, my company doesn't do that. Or we only get evaluated once a year. Or, I'm making enough. I laugh at that. I don't deserve it. And these are all, I'm sure, the results of the beliefs that they had. And when I'm dealing with coaches who, in a variety of expertise skills, they're not willing to raise their prices to their own value because they just want to be, good enough as opposed to great. And where someone could charge, let's say someone I dealt with yesterday, she could charge $10,000 for her process, and she's only charging $3,000 for her process when we know the outcomes of the process is magnificent and it changes lives. So getting women to have confidence and empower themselves to think ahead of themselves is a challenge.
I totally hear you, and you nailed it right on the money. And I'd love to take the lady that you coached
Okay.
that thought that, she could have charged $10,000, but instead she was comfortable or even squirming charging $3,000. So my question to then becomes, what is it that made that person think that they were only worth $3,000? What belief is playing in the background? What did that person hear growing up around money? What do you think they heard?
Well, I would say one thing they might have heard is that you're not good enough, or not in those words, but this is all you're good for. Maybe their Christmas presents weren't as nice as they thought they deserved. And, instead of getting, let's just make this up, a 4-foot walking doll, they got a, stuffed doll from the 99-cent store. And, the kid looks at it, and here's this little girl looking at it and thinking, well, I wanted this. I thought it was beautiful and it looks like me, and then I get this, which is for a baby. I guess that's all I'm good for.
Mm-hmm. And a lot of people who thinks that that's all that they're good for is when it comes to money, the underlying belief is money is hard to make.
Yes.
Or money doesn't grow on trees.
Oh, I heard that one.
Oh, it's like the parents who say, what? When we ask them money, what? You think I'm made of money? And all these values, when they said it, as a child, we're sponges. We take everything in because we lack discernment. And the discernment comes much later from a psychological point of view, where we learn to rationalize things and see what works for us or what doesn't work for us. But as little children, we took it all in, and it became, money is hard to make. So the programming is money is hard to make. Then we turn around and we make sure that that belief becomes true because it came from our parents. And we love our parents, and we wanted them to be proud of us, and we wanted them to love us, and we wanted to fit in, and we wanted to be part of a family.
Mm-hmm.
So we took that belief and we ran with it. We made it sure that wherever we go, we make sure that money is hard to make. And that's the belief. So from that point forward, I say, so I tell the clients, tell me in your life, where have you noticed that belief showing up? And a lot of the times they will say, well, I have a hard time asking for the sale. I feel really shy negotiating my salary. When I go for a job interview, I'm so anxious. All of this is a problem of owning value. And in this society, a lot of our value gets externally tied to money.
Correct.
So people ask less, thinking that in return, they will get more. But the programming does not work like that.
I was just going to say it doesn't work like that. And no. I don't think men have the same issue at all.
They do. Actually, I coach many men who come to see me and with the same problem. They want to make a lot of money, and at some point, people wake up and they realize, oh my goodness, I could have asked 10 grand for that, and I only asked for 3. Then they go into, what is wrong with me? Like, yes. why am I thinking that?
Mm-hmm.
And that's when the next question comes.
And what's that?
Where does that belief come from? Who taught you that belief? So to your audience, this is what I'm asking. If you believe that money is hard to make, where does that belief come from? Go way, way, way back when you were a little child and you got your Christmas gifts and it wasn't what you wanted. When you asked for money and your parents, they just sighed or looked away or told you they didn't have the money for that. That's who taught you your belief, your parents. And then the next, I'm sorry?
That's okay. I was going to say, and it's embedded in your subconscious because, as you previously said, every child at some point or another wants to please their parents.
Correct. And that's the belief running the show. So therefore, the next question becomes, what results have you had because of that limiting belief of money is hard to make? And then I become very quiet and I can hear crickets in the background.
Yeah.
Yeah, as people go thinking. And I'm sure you've experienced that too when you've asked that questions to your audience.
Yeah, I've gotten a lot of, as you say, crickets first, and then people don't really want to think that their parents did anything on purpose to hurt them when I explain a portion of what you're talking about, a broader aspect of it. And when they realize that it's their parents, they go through all sorts of changes. They are uncomfortable, they're angry, they're sad. It's very difficult to deal with.
Correct, because they marinate in it. And it's heartbreaking to break away from that. Because either what happens with the limiting belief is that we will do the identical of our parents, or we will go to the polar opposite, the other extreme, but it's the same dysfunctional pole. And until we look at what the pole is, what that limiting belief is, without blaming anyone, without shaming anyone, I always tell my clients that, your parents, your friends, your life partners, they're all guinea pigs to me. They're all tools to help you become self-aware. Everyone in our life is there for a reason, to help us become more self-aware of ourselves or our limiting beliefs and what we can do about it. So I let my clients marinate in it. I let them feel how much it sucks to have asked $3,000 instead of 10. And in that place where they're stewing and they feel the results in their life, then I ask them, what are you willing to do about it? What are you going to do about it?
And what do they say?
Well, most people are like, well, I don't want to live poor. I want to live rich. I want a ton of money.
Sure.
That's what they say. And I would say, okay, I hear you. What are you willing to change that limiting belief for? Which new belief would you like to embrace? And that becomes really hard. And this is where most people fail. Because to change anything, there are 3 steps. We have to be able to change. All of us, we're all able. I believe we're all highly capable human beings.
Mm-hmm.
Are we willing to change? That's the people who say, yeah, I want to make a ton of money. I'm ready. I'm good. Let's go. They're willing to change.
Right.
Are they ready to change? And that's when the excuse come up, because that means they might have to tell their friend or their parent, your beliefs are your beliefs, but I choose to have vastly different beliefs than you when it comes to money or anything else for that matter. And for many people who want that approval, that love from their parents, it can create massive anxiety. And the sad thing is many people will choose to embrace what is familiar, that anxiety, that sadness, that stress. They'll take that $3,000 basically, instead of going outside of their comfort zone to get what they really want, that $10,000. But for that, they must change that limiting belief for a new, more empowering belief.
Well, in my experience, or what I've learned or whatever, is that a habit or belief is ingrained in your brain. So if someone is to change that and put in a new pathway, a neural pathway to abundance, what are they supposed to do? Let's say that they are ready, willing, and able to take it on and to put their parents' teachings in a box and put it to the side and not worry so much anymore about validating what their parents taught them, especially about money. How do and stop embracing the old familiar and trying to create a new familiar? How do you help them create a new, what I would call, neural pathway to a new belief?
It's an awesome question. Thank you for asking it, Joanne. Remember at the beginning, I talked about what is a limiting belief, that it's a blanket statement that we make and we can easily poke holes in it. So in order to change an ingrained habit, as you so aptly mentioned, we need to look for evidence that that money is easy to make. And therefore, I start asking questions like, is it hard to make a penny? What do you say?
No. To earn or make, or I don't know what you mean. Create.
Yeah, to make create to earn 1 penny. Is it hard to earn 1 penny?
Most likely not. I mean, a penny. Somebody would be very grateful if you gave them a year's coaching for a penny.
Ain't gonna happen.
You get a lot of takers.
Then I ask people what they will say. Is it hard to earn a penny? People most likely they will say no. Is it hard to earn $1? No. So they start to wonder, like, where am I going with this?
Sure.
Is it hard to earn $10? No. Is it hard to earn 10,000? Then people start stopping. Oh, that's like that client that you had. Oh, 10 grand, that's a big number.
Sure.
So I ask people, what would be the number where you start cringing? That when you go like, no, that's hard to make. Because if I listen to all the no's, I could say $1, 1 penny, 2 pennies, 3 pennies. I could create massive amount of no's. And those are the poking holes into the belief.
Sure.
Someone might look at me and say, yeah, it's hard to make money. Is it true? Yeah, it's true. Is it always true? They might say, yeah, it's always true. If they're really firm in their belief and they want to cling to it to dear life. But if I say, is it hard to make a penny? No. $1? No. $10? No. $100? No. I said, well, you tell me that it's hard to make money, but now you're telling me it's not hard to make money. Which one is it? And they go, huh? That's when it starts spinning in the head. And we can bring in a new belief. So for the person who figures out that amount of money where they cringe, what if they made 1 penny less? Let's say for that lady that you coach and she said it was 10 grand.
Right.
Well, what about if you earned $9,999? Does it sit better with you? And you would be surprised the amount of people who are relieved. They're like, yeah, then go for that amount and keep building upon it. So it's about looking for evidence that money is easy to earn. And the more we look for evidence of what we believe as true, the more we get to bring this new evidence, this new belief, we get to manifest it at a greater and greater level.
Go back to the 10K versus the 9999. Why do they feel more comfortable with the $9,999 than the full 10,000?
It's a great question. And the person, that lady with the 10 grand and 3 grand, she is the one who can answer it the best. So I will paraphrase and hopefully I hit the mark with what she was thinking. Most likely, based on my experience as an EQ coach, is, and they were young, something happened. Something that involved $10,000. Maybe at the time it was a down payment for a house. Maybe it was buying a car. Maybe it was a hospital bill. but it was something really big that created a massive amount of stress in in their family.
Mm-hmm.
And therefore, that child moving forward associated the number $10,000 to stress, anxiety, and so on, and massive fear. So therefore, as an adult, when we don't look at our programming, we see that 10 grand and we start getting anxious, and we go like, oh, what's going on? Like, why is $10,000 making me so anxious? Why is it? And instead of asking, where is it in my life that I've struggled with that I've seen people struggle with that 10 grand? And it's amazing because the programming is for the 10 grand. So by saying $9,999, the brain, because we're all wired the same way,
Mm-hmm.
the brain will go look for that evidence. And it sees that $9,999 is stress-free. It's anxiety-free because there is zero relatable experience of that.
Oh my.
It's that simple.
Oh
and
my.
Complicated.
Oh my. Okay. When people are listening to this, and I always tell people at the end of the podcast to replay the podcast to listen to what the guest has to say, because they're only hearing bits and pieces. They're not hearing the entire concept and the entire methodology. And there you've given it to them in a nutshell, because the brain does control everything, and the subconscious goes and sources where's the best answer. And the best answer is not 10K, because $10,000 is pain, and $9,999 is good. There's a smile there. So you're retraining your brain and your subconscious by working with you on this process.
Correct.
Okay.
And though it's because we took one belief, but many people, they're unaware of their beliefs.
Correct.
You know, I have, if any one of a member of the audience ever read my bio, I have over 18 degrees and certifications. It's crazy. And yet, before I met my mentor, Dov Baron, who showed me my limiting beliefs, I was this emotionally ignorant person who went through life chasing money, accumulating diplomas and accolades, building the white picket fence, thinking that I never had to look at limiting beliefs, that was the lot of other people. But at the same time, when I looked at the results in my life, many of them were heartbreaking and abysmal. And if we don't like the results in our life, the culprit is always our limiting beliefs. We are the person who stands in our way to success, so the type of success that we want to have. It's that simple.
Yeah, it is all down to us.
It is, massively. We are the masters of our own lives, of our thoughts, of our feelings, and our decisions. Limiting beliefs have an energy attached to them. And it's a negative energy.
Yes.
And people with what we call emotional baggage. And limiting beliefs are not just around money. It can be around men, women, the jobs, race, ethnicities. It's all the stuff that we heard growing up. And we must take a fine lens and just look at it really, really closely and ask ourselves, do I want to live my life this way? Do I want to go through life thinking that money is hard to make? For me, it's very easy when I look at two people. You have a person who will work super hard. They will work 100 hours a week and make very little amount of money. And you will have a person who works 20 hours a week and they make $1 million a year. What's the difference between the two? For me, it's very simple. One believes money is hard to make. One believes that money comes to them easily from expected and unexpected sources. Our beliefs shape all our results, including our financial results.
I'm just writing that down. I mean, this is clearly what makes a difference between the symptoms that you're talking about, the beliefs, the limiting beliefs, especially about money, especially as relate to women. I'm not saying all women need this or all men need this, but by and large, you're talking about women today, pretty much. And I have seen the results of this thinking, and it can be devastating. I've experienced some of this myself in the early years, and I'm looking at this thinking, if only people had faith in themselves and had the confidence to, work with someone such as yourself, be it calling you or however you work with people remotely or otherwise, to know that there is an issue that needs attention. And this particular issue is limiting beliefs about money, or the other side of it would be in a practical conversation. Why aren't I getting more? Everybody else is doing it. Why not me? Because the person who's doing the asking has the limiting belief. The person who's doing the receiving doesn't, or has been trained out of it. Is that sort of...
Yes, I agree with you. And one of the limiting beliefs, like a huge one, is like, quote unquote, I'm not good enough.
Well, yeah, it's the confidence that women have a real problem with, the lack of confidence in themselves, and that comes from a variety of stories told to the child. And as
Correct.
and that's it. I don't know if it takes time. Someone told me hypnotherapy would work when I had a hypnotherapist on, and we were talking about all sorts of changes that his clients made regarding a lot of values and beliefs that were not beneficial to them, and they worked with the therapist. I just think that people need to recognize what is going on, be willing to say, it's me, I'm responsible, and I am good enough, and I can do whatever I need, whatever it takes to get what I want.
The one thing that I tell my clients is that awareness alone is crap. And I mean, and when I look at them, I've got that look on my face. It's like it's the warrior.
Right.
It's the warrior's look. I say awareness alone is crap. Because we can go around, and if you ask people, is money hard to make? Yeah. Do you have evidence of it? Yeah. So you're aware of it? Yeah. And it stops there.
Yep.
So the cycle of abuse, because I call it self-abuse,
yes,
continues. It just gets perpetuated. So awareness alone without action is useless. Actually, I tell my clients, like, if you only work by contracts, and they must commit to 3 months at a time. And I say to them, to become aware of something, really aware, it hurts. Like, they say the truth hurts before it sets us free. It's true. It is true, because it will hurt that to feel the results, to feel that, oh my God, I am worth that 10 grand. But I only asked for 3. It sucks.
Yep.
But to feel it. And in that feeling, in that place of marinating, like, we get to decide, enough. I am enough. I am good enough. And to build that faith. But that faith gets built, that trust in ourselves, it gets built through actions. So what I do as a coach is I act as the catalyst. The client is the hero in their own story. They have everything they need to bring themselves to success. All they need to do is someone who holds them accountable for every belief that they have, and for it to change it. We all have the power of changing.
Yeah, I say from time to time, in a serious way, God gives us the gift, whatever it may be, but we are responsible for taking action and making it work. People are waiting, and people have been waiting for decades for something to happen to them and for them without looking inwards to see what they are about. I mean, nobody's going to give anybody anything who feels worthless all the time and who is not grateful or appreciative or confident. And I think that that's one of the things that people are not willing to admit, that people don't want to be accountable. I know that. They just work hard to not be accountable. They don't want to complete things. They flaunt all their commitments. They do not follow through on commitments, which disturbs me when people do that, because I like people to keep their word. And people who don't keep their word and think it's okay, I can't work with people like that. I don't like that. That disturbs me. That's my belief. It's disturbing when people aren't willing to be accountable for their own actions or lack thereof.
Yes, this is why I say I choose my clients as much as they choose them, as they choose me.
Correct.
Which is vastly different for coaches. Coaches, well, I'll coach anybody. I'll coach everybody. I coach people who are ready. I take them the distance. And the reason why I say I choose my clients as well is if they refuse to do the work, I will fire them.
Yes.
And the fear of getting fired, it's amazing. It lights up a fire under their butt and they go, no, I need coaching. I'll do it. Most people, I believe we all want to be accountable. And what is stopping us from fully owning is, believe it or not, is inside of us is a wounded child that wants permission. There's a child inside of us, and that lady, I believe there's a child inside of her who wants someone to say to her, it's okay to ask for $10,000. You deserve it. It's okay to earn $250,000 a year. You deserve it. It's okay to make $1 million profit on that contract. You deserve it.
Well, I think that's a good place to stop with our audience and ourselves, is that it's okay, you deserve it. And if you go to Anne's website at walkinginside.com, I'm sure you'll find all of her books listed there. As I say, the most recent one is The Golden Frame. And you can reach her at Anne, ANNE, at walkinginside.com, and plus the various links that I have on her website, on her page on my website, and see what Anne has to say about limiting beliefs or false beliefs, because the one about money is big, because money is a big thing in our lives and all of our lives. And if you need help, she's got it for you. Do you work with people remotely, Anne?
I do. Actually, a lot of my clients are over the phone, so I do phone coaching.
Yes.
I do Skype. I do Zoom, WebEx. I work with individuals one-on-one. I work with organizations. I'm a keynote speaker, so I can come in and talk on a specific topic, working on the 3 pain points, for example, your organization has problems with in that moment. So there are all kinds of things that I do for my clients. I work globally. I coach in English, in French, my native tongue, and Chinese Mandarin, because I lived 10 years in China, so I picked up Mandarin along the way.
Well, good for you. Good for you. So here you have it, Anne Beaulieu, who is fluent in 4 languages, French, English, and Chinese Mandarin, as well as, well, I guess that's it. She's going to learn another one soon, I'm sure of it.
I'm working on Spanish.
Okay, Spanish. That should be easy. Part of the romance and part of the French as well. And I want everybody, as I've said before, please to re-listen to this podcast to see what Anne Beaulieu has to say about limiting and false beliefs. And Anne, could you just give one sentence that people, I know you've got a lot of work under your belt with 25 books in the Emotionally Intelligent Way series, but if you could give the listeners one thing to do right now, or one thing to think about right now that they could take with them and use over and over again, what would it be?
Take a white sheet of paper and write on it with a marker, I am choosing to feel this way. Every time you're happy about a result, go stand in front of that piece of paper, like tape it to the wall, and look at that. I am choosing to feel this way. When you're angry about a result, or you feel not good enough, or you feel unworthy, whatever's going on, go stand in front of it. I am choosing to feel this way. And what's going to happen is at some point you're going to start realizing that you are the master of your feelings and emotions, and you can change your life by mastering your feelings and emotions, which is what emotional intelligence coaching is all about.
There you go, people. I hope you have a great day listening to this, and thank you very much, Anne Beaulieu, for being here, and I'm glad you were here. This is good, and I'll talk to you in a couple minutes. Take care.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Sanity Project podcast. Please go to AskJoanneVictoria.com and continue the conversation on my podcast page. And get a free copy of my book, The True Self Handbook, a guide to transform your life. That's AskJoanneVictoria.com. Take care, and thanks for being here.